Hello adventurers, and today is a very special video where we're doing a review of Bigby Presents Glory to the Giants. I first want to say that Wizards did give me this product for free. They did not ask me to review it. I'm doing that on my own accord because I just love the content that is inside of this. So, there's a lot of stuff in here. It's almost 200 pages, and there's something for almost everyone. Even though you might not think, hey, a Giant-centric book, how can that really fit in my game world? There is so much in here. So first off, they have, for Barbarians, a new subclass option called the Path of the Giant, where you can, through the use of your rage, increase not only your power, but also your size, growing to large and even huge at the highest levels. So finally, you can be that hulking powerhouse that moves around the battlefield, having massive strength and just throwing things. There are two great new background options for your starting character's origin. One is the Giant Foundling, an individual who is raised among the giants, though they are not one of their own. And the other is the Rune Carver, who unlocks the geometric secrets of runes and the energies that they draw from, able to inscribe runes on everyday normal items, similar to an artificer, and then draw upon their power at a later date. There's also a mini tree of feats in this book, all centered around Strike of the Giants, that allows you to imbue your own melee and ranged attacks with the fury and power of the giants, each one flavored to a different giant type. So deal out some extra fire damage as a fire giant, or call upon the power of lightning from the storm giant, and make yourself even disappear before your enemy's eyes. Another great part about this book is we finally get an in-depth look into the giant societal structure and even their pantheon. It's called the Ordning. That is how they represent things through a hierarchy where storm giants are the kings at the top and hill giants are way down at the bottom. And things like Fomorians and Ettins, they don't even consider them part of the group. Shame. The Giant Pantheon, which is also known as the Ordning, is led by Anam and has 10 other gods beneath it, which are all his divine children. He rules over as sort of like an Odin figure, as he's also known as the All-Father, but is mostly seen as a disinterested, disappointed father who really wants nothing to do with his children anymore. I can relate to that. It also goes into giants who've turned their back on the Ordning and fall in line with the elemental evil cults, or even worshipping some demons and fiends. There are a lot of options here to build up a truly gigantic big bad guy. There's even suggestions in here for clandestine or open groups that are giant-centric within your own game worlds. It gives some fun options and really turns things on their head when you really understand that giants are no longer just huge individuals that swing trees around, but do have an entire civilization and story ripe for the picking right in your own backyard. Speaking of which, there are a tremendous amount of options and hooks that are suggested for delving into why they have those 500-foot-tall story dungeons with massive architecture and no one living there. Really getting a chance to explore the world before it became what it is now, and how the giant civilization had fallen to the wayside and uncovering the mysteries within. It really is a great opportunity to take a look at those bits and pieces that have always flooded around in campaign settings and lore and really breathe new life into it on what happened to the giants, why did they decline. There were also some really great suggestions in here for giants as patrons. If you are like me and use the patron system, this is something that is absolutely wonderful and a great addition, because I could totally see a storm giant ruling as a mob boss type individual, just controlling an entire organization from the top of their mountain. Oh, so good. There are a ton of locations in this book, all the giant enclaves, and I have to say, my absolute favorite part of this is that it was drawn by the amazing Dyson Logos. If you're not familiar with their work, check them out. They've been around for as long as I can remember. They are one of my favorite map makers, and they really did a great job bringing these locations to life. Now, an important thing to note for scale, unlike normal maps, every one of the squares on these giant-sized maps are 10 feet instead of the normal 5. So it will really put things into perspective on how big everything is that you're looking at on here. So now we're at the part everyone's all excited for, treasure. Well, there are new treasure tables for each type of giant bag that you'd find on them. In addition to that, there is a slew of amazing magic items. Really excited about this one. Figurines of wondrous power are back. And they're dinosaurs. But, I gotta say, one of my favorite parts about those is that if you do summon a T-Rex, there is a chance if you roll a 1 when trying to command it, that it's just going to turn on you and try and eat you. That's kind of funny. Another interesting item in here is an artifact, Bigby's Beneficent Bracelet, made by the individual themselves, that allows you to once a day cast a 9th level Bigby's Hand spell that doesn't require concentration. So, you just pop another one of those off, and then you have a giant-sized game of fisticuffs ready to go. I'm here for it. But probably, the item that I'm most excited for is the Thunderbuss. This is a pistol that doesn't have the loading property or uses ammunition. Instead, it actually does the thunder damage type instead of piercing, and once a day, you can fire off a massive 10-foot radius energy blast of thunder damage to assail your foes. So artificers and gunslingers, we finally got a little bit of firearm love coming to us. And you know, giant energy weapons. Let's dive into that a bit more at a later date, because that sounds kind of cool. Alright, so, the giant's share, pun intended, of this book has to be the bestiary. There are so many options here, and yes, there are dinosaurs. It comes up a lot. I know, it's weird. It's like dinosaurs are giant or something. Two that I really want to highlight that jumped out at me, though, just for the sheer terror and comedic value. The bag jelly, an ooze that lives inside of a giant's bag, that are sort of kept like pet gelatinous cubes that just eat and dissolve organic matter. And it's said that they were created when a wizard cursed a giant after they were beaten to death from inside a giant's bag. It's probably an awful way to go, but these things sound like they are very fun to throw out there after a tough encounter when you want to give your players a one last little, like, nasty surprise, and you know they can still take it. The other is the Sarah Morph, an Etten that was infected with not one, but 2 elithid tadpoles. One of the heads sort of merges with the body and takes control of all of the bodily functions, while the other head focuses into a razor-sharp psionic powerhouse. This is terrifying. An Etten that can work together in harmony and serves mind flayers. I do not want to be anywhere near it. So I know I said there were 2 that jumped out at me, but there is a third that I really want to go into, the Flesh Colossus. So what happens when a bunch of giant wizards start stitching together pieces of giant? The Flesh Colossus. This thing is horrific, and worst of all, it's a construct, it's not undead. Not only do these things breathe elemental energy, but they're also resistant to magic and have immutable form, so things like polymorphing them are out the window. This thing comes in at a challenge rating of 30, so it will absolutely challenge your players. On a final note, I did want to say this alternate art cover, which features Bigby playing chess against a stone giant, is absolutely wonderful. The copper and peach tones together, giving that grounded kind of earthen vibe. It is absolutely beautiful. So, Bigby's Presents Glory of the Giants is out now and available. You can find it through Amazon, Wizards of the Coast, or your local gaming store. I don't have any affiliate links, but I just want to say thank you again, Wizards, for this opportunity, and if you guys enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe. This is my first review video doing something like this. Well, may you roll with advantage, adventurers. Good day.